My name is Sister Margaret Walsh, and I manage St. Chad's Sanctuary. Well, we moved into this building in about February 2010, and then I suppose it took us a few months really to sort it out so that we could do something in it, make it hospitable. So I started very simply. I became very aware of asylum seekers who lost their homes because they no longer had recourse to public funds and they became homeless. And what they then did really was they began to drift into the city centre, and they would come to the Refugee Council, for example. And I knew that the Refugee Council was located near to St. Chad's Cathedral, and I'm Roman Catholic, and that's our cathedral. And so I approached Canon Pat Brown and said perhaps we could do something to offer some hospitality to the asylum seekers, especially those waiting at the Refugee Council. They would come very early in the morning, and then they'd be given a voucher to come back later on in the day for an appointment, because there were so many, and they had no shelter even. So I thought at the very least we could give them a room, or just to offer very simple hospitality. That was my only ambition. So it began like that. And then the Salvation Army had this building here, and it wasn't occupied. It hadn't been occupied for several years, and they happily gave it to us. So the project then became a project which I named St. Chad's Sanctuary, but it's supported by St. Chad's Cathedral and the Salvation Army. It's run really by volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Most of us are volunteers. That aspect of offering hospitality and inviting people in and making people welcome, that remains our key priority. But of course, in doing that, we have been hearing the stories, and I was familiar with many of the stories anyway, because I've done this kind of work for a long time. And so soon we began to provide clothing, and then we began to provide food for those who were destitute, and hygiene products. And then, of course, English began to happen. We began to teach English. 51,000 people have signed in since we began. Yeah. And it's all worked on a shoestring, really, but it's amazing the amount of people that come for help and receive help here.
Are you supported financially by government somehow?
No. The Salvation Army is very generous in that we have this building for free, and they help to pay the overheads, for example. But then we need a lot of resources. So we get money from various sources. The chief one being just people who wish to donate, benefactors. The churches are really generous to us. Up and down the diocese, I think many parishes keep us going. Every single week, some parishes are at the door with food, with clothing, and often with financial donations also. So that's really how we keep it going.
And is there any possibility to apply for some money from government?
We try very hard to get money, but it isn't easy, because we're dealing with people that government would be happier if they left and went back to their own countries, because they've already been refused. Many of them have already been refused asylum and have been asked to leave the country, but in most cases they cannot.
Do you have some motto?
Yes. This sanctuary is underpinned by Christian values, and so we use just one line from the Gospel, which says, "I was a stranger and you made me welcome."
Why you like working with refugees? Because I suppose you like working with them.
It's a great pleasure most of the time, because they're very lovely people. They're tremendously appreciative, and they're very easy. We get a lot more than we give, I think, because they're amazing people too. They've been through such hardship, such suffering, but they're so resilient, and they have so much hope despite everything that they give. They fill you with courage, really, and inspiration. It's a great pleasure. But it's also very painful, because we share the journey and we hear the stories, unimaginable suffering, and that's hard.
Heads and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Heads and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes, and eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Heads and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Hey! Okay. Head, shoulder, knee, toes, eye, ear, mouth, nose.
My name's Hazel Manley and I'm a volunteer at St Chad Sanctuary in Birmingham.
And what are you doing here?
I am a tutor to a creative English group which has been we've been working now for a term and a half.
And how would you describe your students?
They are all either asylum seekers or refugees. So refugees if they've received their papers to give them leave to remain. And they vary from people who've been in the country for a week to people who've been here a year, but usually less than 6 months.
And are they excited about learning?
They desperately want to learn English. That is the greatest thing about teaching them. They are so enthusiastic and determined to learn.
And is there any difference between teaching immigrants and regular students?
The enthusiasm. They know they need English. I taught French before. My students were never as much in need of French as these students are in need of English.
And can you see that their English has been improving?
The ones who've stayed with us for a while, yes. Ibrahim had his certificate today. He's done 10 sessions with us and he spoke very little English when he came. He managed to make a little speech today, which was wonderful.
Let's listen to what he. Have you enjoyed the course?
Yeah, I'm very enjoying here.
What is best
Yeah.
about it?
I come in here, I'm very happy. Good teacher.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice people. Yeah.
Your English?
I'm my English. I after coming here, never understand English good, but this class, card sharing, very good. Thank you so much every day.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Could you tell me why you like teaching here?
It's a very happy place to work. The volunteers are happy, the students are happy. They actually say they are all happy, amazingly, but they also think the people of Birmingham are happy. They tell us everybody smiles. It must be because they smile at everybody, so people smile back. They really are some of the happiest people I've ever met. And yet their lives have been terrible before they got here. But they're here now. They're in a land that's free. That's how they see it.
So the biggest reason why you like teaching here is because of the positive energy.
Definitely. I've taught children from the age of 7 through to adults, and this has to be not the easiest teaching experience because I don't speak their language, but the most positive one, I think, that I've ever done in 30 odd years.
You are not paid, are you?
No, and none of the tutors here are paid. We're all volunteers. Perhaps that makes it more enjoyable too.
Yeah.
It's what we choose to do.